Hi folks, this is video 181 and the title is Two Beaver Stories. This first story is about bankhouse beavers. Most people are familiar with beaver lodges, the big hump of sticks and mud and stuff out in the middle of a body of water. But beavers also make their homes in the stream banks and river banks. They bore a hole and make a little cave in there, and the entrance to that lodge or bank lodge is usually below the water surface. This is a good example of a beaver bank house. The entrance would be underwater. There's some sticks piled around on top there to reinforce it. And some of that might also serve as a food supply for them. And since the entrance is underwater, there has to be a breather hole in the top somewhere. Not a real big hole, maybe just maybe three inches across or so, not very big. I believe the bank house I was dealing with was on White's Creek, outside of Mashopin. I asked around because I didn't want to set any ground sets for leg hold traps because it was summer and people were fishing, walking along the stream, and I didn't want to kill them. I didn't want to use conibears and or drowning sets. I just wanted them to go away. So I inquired with a couple of my supervisors, and they came up with the idea of using Clorox bleach, make it a little nasty for them, and they'd go away. I was told to get a gallon of Clorox bleach and put about a half a cup in a container and just pour it down that breather hole. Wouldn't be enough to kill them or anything, but to make it nasty enough they wouldn't want to be able to stay in there. They'd have to get out and get some fresh air. And if I did that like 3, 4, 5 days in a row, beavers would find out they need to find a better place to live, and they would go away. I stopped in this little store and grabbed a gallon of Clorox bleach and went back out to the creek. You think I could find something in a little cup in my truck? Looked around, finally found a soda can. Took my knife and cut the top off the soda can. And I poured about what I thought was about a half a cup in the little soda can there. And I wasn't watching the can when I was walking, but I was watching, because I was going down the bank through the bushes and sticks and stuff. And I got down to the bank house. And I knew where the hole was because I already looked for it. And I took my soda can and I went to pour the Clorox in the hole, and I got nothing. My little soda can was dry. I know I didn't spill any. I said, what the heck is going on with this? I figured the only thing it could be was some kind of chemical reaction between the bleach and the aluminum can. I got back to the truck. I set the can on the tailgate, and I put about a half inch of bleach in the can, and I watched it. There were no fumes, no steam or anything. It just, the level just went right on down, and it was gone. So I got an in-the-field chemistry lesson. Went back to the store and got a tube of plastic cups and went back out, and I put my first little dose of bleach in that breather hole. And I did that for the next 3 or 4 days, maybe 5, I don't know, I don't remember now. I just kept looking around for any fresh sign, tracks where they'd been dragging sticks or walking around. And eventually there was nothing there, and I could tell that they had moved out. Now for Beaver story number 2. This story took place on this farm that's over in the Nicholson area. Actually, it's on the east side of the Nicholson Bridge. And you can see that the Tunkhannock Creek comes right down the middle of the farm. Well, I got over there and saw the landowner. He said, "Come on, Don, I want to show you something." He said, "I've never seen this before." So we took a ride, went down between the hayfield and the cornfield. We got out of the truck and walked around the end of the cornfield. And all at once the corn opened up. There was a great big opening at the end of the cornfield. But there was no corn stalks there. It looks like somebody had cut them off with what we would call a corn knife. Looked like a sickle, hand sickle, but it had a straight, more or less a straight blade on it, but it was serrated. Just put it down there to the ground and come up with an angle, give it a quick jerk and cut the corn stalks off. That's kind of what it looked like, but there were no corn stalks laying around. The landowner says, "Come on, Don." He says, "I want to show you something." He said, "I've never seen this before." We walked over to the creek, and being there were no trees for the beavers that they would normally eat, the little buggers went and cut down the corn. They were building a dam out of the corn stalks. I talked to other officers about that later on, and nobody had ever heard of anything like that. I took a walk along the creek, and these beavers also had built a bank lodge or bank house. This time I knew what to do. So for the next 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it was, I gave them a little Clorox bleach treatment. And these beavers, too, decided it wasn't a good idea to stick around. They moved out of the area, and the farmer's cornfield was saved from any more destruction. Now, if this was a bear that destroyed his corn, a bear goes in and sits down and pulls the corn stalks into himself. It ends up with like a pretty good-sized circle right in the middle of the cornfield. Flattens out these corn stalks, and then he just sits there and munches on those nice juicy corn cobs. I'd only ever got to see that once, too, but that's what they do. That's the difference between beavers and bears. So that's the end of this beaver story. So I hope everyone's doing all right. And as usual, I wish everyone all the best.